The University of Arizona's new president meets the campus community.
Right now, I'm going to invite you all into Old Main for refreshments.
The metro area gets a Mormon temple.
The temple serves a much broader area, and it focuses on special ceremonies or ordinances.
Plus, who's on the ballot for Tucson City Council? This is Metro Week. Hi, I'm Andrea Kelly. Thanks for joining us. Today, an introduction to the University of Arizona's new president. From settling in to setting policy, Robert Robbins tells us what's about to change. That's after a look at the rest of the week's top stories from the Arizona Public Media Newsroom.
Pima County plans to fight mosquitoes by using a small endangered fish to feast on the insects. The Pima County Health Department is raising the Gila top minnow so it can be added to some backyard pools and fountains where mosquitoes breed. The Gila top minnow is an Arizona native that was placed on the endangered species list in 1967. Humans have dried up most of their traditional habitats by pumping the water, but the fish can thrive if given a chance. The county is working with the Arizona Game and Fish Department, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the Phoenix Zoo. The Arizona Attorney General's office wants volunteers in Pima County for an anti-phone scam pilot project. The AG's office said volunteers will get boxes to hook up to their landlines that will block phone calls from known scammers. The boxes come with 5,000 pre-programmed numbers, and users can add another 1,500. The program is open to senior citizens because they are most often the target of the scams. The boxes are paid for with a federal grant. If the program is successful, the state hopes to expand it beyond Pima and Maricopa counties. A ranking of cities based on their park systems places Tucson near the bottom. The Trust for Public Land ranked park availability in the 100 largest cities in the U.S., and Tucson came in 85th. The ranking cites a lack of parks, with more than 40% of city residents not having a park within a half mile of their homes. To keep up with all of the week's news, you can visit our website. That address, news.azpm.org.
Robert C. Robbins became the University of Arizona's 22nd president Thursday. A day later, he sat down with Vanessa Barchfield for a Getting to Know You interview.
You're now on day 2 of the job. What's the first order of business here at the U of A?
Well, I think it's going and meeting the people that comprise all the stakeholders of this great university. I'm so eager to meet the students, the faculty, the staff, the community, and to learn the culture and the traditions and the hopes and dreams of all the stakeholders of the university.
Looking back a little, why were you interested in the job in the first place?
Well, I've been interested in higher education my entire career. I had the great honor and privilege of being at Stanford University for more than 20 years and lived on the campus. There are about 800 old homes on the campus there, and just enjoyed every aspect of campus life and university life. And I knew that, that I wanted to assume higher levels of responsibility and leadership roles, and had been looking for those kind of opportunities at a variety of different universities across the country. And U of A was the one that finally was the one that I thought, this is a great fit for me. It's got all the components of what I'm looking for in a top-tier, research-intensive university with great environment, great tradition, strong science, great commitment to education and community service, and back in the Pac-12. So I thought this was the absolute best fit for me, and I think my skill sets fit best for what the university needs at this time in its history.
Have there been any surprises for you about life in Tucson so far?
No, not about life, except that the people are so incredibly friendly. As explained to me, this is the largest small town I'll ever live in, and I think that's absolutely right. There's a certain spirit and a certain pride about the city that I really love. I love the climate. I love the beauty of the place, but I love the spirit, that entrepreneurial, pioneering spirit of the city and particularly the university.
You're now the highest paid university president in Arizona and of course in U of A history. What do you bring to the table that makes you worth $1 million a year, particularly in the context of budget cuts to higher education and rising tuition?
I'm not exactly sure I am the highest paid, but fact checkers can go and do their own research about that. But as I've said before, I took a major cut in compensation to come here because I believe in the power of and importance to society of great universities like the University of Arizona. And I certainly am not doing the job for the compensation. But I do realize that I am well compensated, certainly compared to most people in society. And I understand with that comes a great deal of responsibility. And I hope that I will be held accountable and will prove my value as I try to lead the university to even greater levels than it is today.
Are you currently serving on the board of any organization or company, or do you plan to?
There are a few things that I'm doing that I'm beginning to wind down. For instance, I served on the Federal Reserve Board for the Dallas Federal Reserve Bank in the Houston branch, and I have ended that because you have to live in the region that you serve in. There's a foundation in Houston called the Welch Foundation that funds basic chemistry research, and I've enjoyed my time in both those endeavors and learned a lot, but I'm stepping away and stepping down from those. I am the current president of the American Heart Association Southwestern affiliate, and I'm winding my commitments down there. And there are a couple of small startup companies that I've been involved in the Bay Area that I'm winding up, and I'm going to focus all of my attention on the University of Arizona.
How do you want Tucsonans and the U of A community to measure your success?
Well, I think it would be around the quality of the education that we deliver to our students, the quality and type of students that we recruit here, the faculty that we recruit and retain here, measure our success based on our research output, how many grants we win, how many important papers and impactful things that we do, our economic development partnership with the local community and the state at large, how we can leverage technology transfer to create companies that will stay here in the Tucson area and in the state and provide economic development for the state. I think those are the kind of things, and of course, how many national championships we're going to win on the sports courts and fields. So all of the things that would make the university even greater than it is today.
Is there anything that you would like Tucsonans to know about you?
That I am just incredibly enthusiastic about this responsibility. I take it very seriously, and I will dedicate myself to the university and the community and the state, and that I will be accessible to anybody who would like to reach out and have a dialogue with me, and that I hope that my enthusiasm, I can infect others to be as enthusiastic as I am about the great future of the University of Arizona.
We'll have more from Robbins about his policy goals later in the show. First, political news. This week was the deadline for candidates to file for the Tucson City Council ballot. Here's a look at the races ahead, starting with those who have a primary election in August. The primary is limited to the people who live in each of the wards up for election. That means the people who live in Northside Ward 3 can vote in the Democratic primary for the open seat. There, 3 candidates seek the party nomination. Felicia Chu is a mom and middle school teacher. Her website says she has a focus on sustainability and water issues and creating community. Paul Durham calls himself a social energy advocate and volunteers for nonprofits. He founded the Tucson Community-Supported Agriculture Program. Tom Tronsdahl is a small business owner and serves on the Arizona Center for Autism Board of Directors. He wants to increase the number of neighborhood associations. The winner will face independent Gary Watson in the citywide general election in November. Watson is the president of a local chapter of the International Association of Firefighters and a consultant with Pima County's Joint Technical Education District. In Midtown Ward 6, 2 Green Party candidates are competing for the nomination in the August primary. Mike Cease is chairman of the Pima County Green Party. His Facebook page includes posts about environmental issues. Michael Oatman says Ward 6 needs a progressive representative to help change the direction of the council. He hosted a show on Access Tucson called Illegal Knowledge. The winner faces two more candidates in the November general election. One is incumbent Democrat Steve Kozachik, who is seeking his third term on the council. He emphasizes his work to balance the city budget and revitalize downtown, along with social issues. The third candidate in the November Ward 6 race is Republican Mariano Rodriguez. He is an architect and business owner who says he wants to empower the community and small businesses. The other seat up for election is Ward 5 on Tucson's south side. There, Democrat Richard Fimbres seeks his third term and is running unopposed. Write-in candidates have until July to file for the primary race. We'll ask the candidates to join us for interviews this summer. About 5% of Arizonans are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, more commonly known as the Mormon Church. The state has 5 Mormon temples, and the closest requires a trip north on Interstate 10. That will change in August when the church dedicates its first temple in the Tucson metro area. We got a preview this week. Public tours begin Saturday. No photo or videos are allowed inside the temple, so we've used footage provided by the church.
It's just so exciting for us to have a temple in Tucson, and it reflects the fact that the church has reached a point of maturity here in terms of its size and its development, that we're able to support a temple and have people use it in an effective way. Previously, they had to drive 2 hours to Mesa in order to participate in temple worship. Now they're going to be able to do it right here in their own community. People often expect that our temple is going to be like a large Catholic cathedral with one enormous space inside. And when they come in, they find that there are many smaller rooms in the temple that have different purposes. The focus in the temple is really on the individual's relationship with God and the promises that we make to live according to His teachings, to do the things that He has stressed that we need to do to be good, moral people. And each of the rooms has a specific purpose that helps us to either do that or to come together as part of an eternal family. And many people recognize the meeting houses that we have all over the community. Those are the places where we gather for congregational worship on Sunday, where we gather for meetings during the week that are both activities and instructional in nature. And it's really the hub, if you will, of the community life. So it tends to be more neighborhood focused. The temple serves a much broader area, and it focuses on special ceremonies or ordinances, as we call them, that people participate in to be able to draw closer to God. They come here to make promises or covenants to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ and to live better lives. And that is something that only happens in these unique buildings we call temples. We also have families that are sealed for eternity in these buildings, meaning that their relationships endure beyond this life and do not end just at death. So in an LDS temple, you can perform baptisms for deceased ancestors. I can come here for one of my ancestors who did not have the opportunity to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ and receive baptism. Jesus himself taught the baptism is essential to enter the kingdom of heaven. I can come here and perform that baptism for my deceased ancestors. That's the opportunity the temple provides. We don't do that in our ordinary meeting houses where people meet on Sundays, only in temples like this one. So people would also come here to receive instruction in how to live a better Christian life. And there is a video presentation that helps people to understand how they can draw closer to God and live according to His teachings. So the culminating point of the experience in the temple is to go into the celestial room. You have completed the instruction process, and symbolically, you have moved through your time on this earth, through all of the challenges, the ups and downs of life, and you've reached a point where you've lived in a way that entitles you to go back into the presence of God. The celestial room for us represents that reunion with God, and when you go into the celestial room, symbolically, you've reached the culminating point of life's journey, to be back in His presence. People come to the temple seeking guidance from God about important decisions they're making. They will come to pray in the temple. They will come with a specific problem in mind or a question that they're trying to resolve, and they will seek in prayer God's guidance on that important question. So in many parts of the temple there are places where people can sit and ponder, meditate, pray, and seek God's guidance on whatever that pressing issue is that they're trying to address.
The church will be open for public tours for the next 3 weeks. It's a tradition to open the buildings to the community before they are dedicated.
This is a unique opportunity for people to come understand more about our faith, about what an LDS temple is, what its purpose is, what it looks like, to get a sense for it by going through it. And the church does that before the temple is dedicated. We've obviously had people constructing the temple who in many cases are not of our faith. Once the temple is dedicated, then it's reserved for those who meet the standards of conduct required to be able to enter a temple. And so we open it to everyone, to the public. All are invited to come see the temple and understand more about it prior to its dedication.
The temple is ready for public viewing and reservations are required. The tours are free and a chance to see the work of hundreds of construction workers in the past 18 months. Hear from one of them in an online extra, which is at news.azpm.org. Now, more from the University of Arizona's president, Robert C. Robbins. He joined Vanessa Barchfield on his second day on the job to discuss the future of the institution.
How would you describe the state of the U of A today?
Well, I think it's, if you look at, again, at objective statistics and parameters, the university is one of the top research universities in the United States. It's in the top 25 of public universities and in the top 35 of all universities. That's including all the major universities like Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, Berkeley. And so I think we should have incredible pride about the amount of research that we're doing here and how we're global thought leaders in many of the disciplines. I think that the incredible pride that the University of Arizona family has about this institution is infectious to me. I sort of underestimated how passionate and enthusiastic the students and the alumni that I meet. I think someone told me last night that last week was their 60th anniversary of graduating from U of A, 30th for their son, and they have a grandson that's entering the U of A who had offers to go to many of the top universities across the country and is committed, goes to high school here in Tucson, is committed to the University of Arizona. So I was not overly surprised, but am inspired by the love of the university and the great pride that individuals take in this university, and I think it's well founded. It's one of the great universities in the United States and a treasure for the state of Arizona.
Last year, of course, saw turmoil at the U of A's two medical schools and health sciences. Are the difficult days over, or do you expect to be devoting much of your time to health sciences? Well,
I think with any transition, the partnership with Banner Health, which is one of the top healthcare delivery systems in the United States, and I think we're incredibly fortunate to have that partnership. And any kind of change, certainly any type of merger or new partnership or joint venture oftentimes has bumpy starts, but I'm very confident that now 2 years into this collaborative partnership that things are going very smoothly. There's still going to be things, and when you bring two different cultures together, you can look at any of the great mergers in corporate America. There are often difficulties in that transition because you're mixing two separate, distinct and proud cultures together. But I'm very confident, and one of the reasons why I was so interested in the university is we're the only university who has 2 fully accredited medical schools, one in Phoenix, one in Tucson. And the idea of being able to partner with one of the top healthcare delivery systems in the United States to help them to think about how the delivery of healthcare is going to be done in this rapidly changing world is very exciting to me. And I think we will be global leaders together in this partnership of changing the way that we think of health for not only members of the Tucson, Phoenix, Arizona community, but a beacon and a vanguard for the United States writ large and the world. I think that in terms of personalized health, leveraging technology that we can bring to bear, you're going to see us be leaders in this field, and I'm very excited about that. Now, there are some things early on that I need to do. We need to name a permanent full-time Senior Vice President for Health Affairs. I obviously have great interest in this area, but I've got many different areas that I'm interested in and going to demand my time. So being able to name that person soon is going to be one of the major things that I'll do in the first certainly year that I'm here.
There's still a lot of uncertainty over Dreamers here in the U.S. What would you like to tell students with DACA status here at the U of A?
Well, I would say that we want to recruit the brightest and best students to come to the University of Arizona. We hope that the value proposition to them is it will deliver great value to them with the highest quality education at the lowest cost and the best service to them that we possibly can, and that they would be brought in as a member of the family. And going back to this incredible wildcat spirit that the university has, we would welcome students who want to be here and will be part of this diverse student population, diverse community that we live in. And we would want to help them achieve their hopes and dreams and to go back into the communities to be leaders in their community.
And if they lose their DACA status under the Trump administration, would the U of A step in to help them in any way?
Well, I think that we will do everything that we are allowed to do under the law to make this a safe harbor and safe haven for education and the exchange of intellectual ideas. And we'll do that for every one of our students as much as we can under the rule of law.
How is the U of A doing in terms of inclusivity, and do you see areas for improvement?
Yeah, I think that, especially with the large, diverse population that we have, I mean, it's almost like a small city that we have on the campus. And there are always going to be differences of opinions, but I think that that's something that a university is, by its nature, designed to do, is to have debate and discussion about differences of opinion. But I think diversity is something that is very much a positive thing, especially for the University of Arizona, because there are all kind of different diversities. There's geographic diversity, there's difference of opinion, different cultures, and people will grow during their time at the university. Often the first time they're leaving their home environment and their social network to come into a different one to explore and options that they have and create foundations that will guide their thoughts of being productive members of society for the rest of their lives. So, I like to say this is not a 4-year commitment. This is a lifelong commitment to developing those fundamental foundations that will guide them. So I think that this will be a place that will be a respectful place for those kind of activities, whether they be education, research, or societal growth, to occur on our campus.
What will you do to make sure that a U of A education is affordable and accessible to students across the state?
Well, I think that the affordability is one that continues to be a national debate. But I think that currently that residents of Arizona get a good value from our state universities. Obviously, for some students, that's going to be a financial hardship, and as time goes on, it's going to become more and more expensive to deliver an education. So I think that my job is to look for ways to diversify our income stream, and of course one of the big jobs of a university president is to do philanthropic fundraising, and so one of the areas that's really important to me, and I think will create good value for our students, is to try to raise money for scholarships. There are many educational foundations in the state that we're lucky to have that fund scholarships for students. So we want to be able to make available to those students who want a University of Arizona education, make it to where they can have that opportunity, and we can figure out the finances either through scholarships or loans or partnerships with foundations.
So how much of your time do you expect to be devoting to fundraising? And of course you have experience in that area. What does it take to make fundraising successful?
Well, I think that I will spend a lot of my time doing that. And it's part of I think, one of my desires for the university is to be out engaging in the community. We're going to be working on a comprehensive, holistic strategic plan for the university, and that'll be a roadmap to go out and to engage people who love and want to support the things, the exciting and transformational things that we're doing at the university. So I think that I will always be in the fundraising mode, looking for ways to find resources for the university to achieve the strategic objectives that we'll outline in this new roadmap.
How important a priority is environmental sustainability here on campus, and the research in that area and climate change that's being done on this campus?
Yeah, well, I think the University of Arizona has been a leader in this area for decades now, and I hope will continue to be a global leader in the area of sustainability. I'm impressed with just looking at water. I mean, we live in a very arid environment, and reclaiming water and conservation of water and reuse of water is something that the university has been very on the cutting edge of developing new technologies and new thoughts about how to do that. So I think that in terms of environmental issues, we've got an environmental institute, so that brings multidisciplinary teams together to work on issues around the environment. And we also have Biosphere 2, which is one of the great laboratories for doing experiments that related to the environment. So I'm confident that the new roadmap and strategic plan will include some initiatives that will focus on our natural leadership position in the area of the environment.
Of course, you're in the early stages of preparing your roadmap and plan, but how would you like the U of A to look in 10 years and maybe even 20 years? Well,
I think as I've outlined, we're already one of the premier research land-grant universities in the United States. And I would hope that we would continue to improve by all the metrics that I've just outlined that will be measured on, that we will continue to rise as one of the premier institutions for leading research. We're in the knowledge generation and knowledge transfer business. And so I think that many of the things that we've discussed already this morning will be important in the future of the university. But I would hope that over the next decades that the university will rise to even more prominence in these areas that we deem or be like Gretzky always talked about, skating to where the puck will be, not where the puck is now, and looking to try to predict where the world is changing. And I think it'll be focused on the integration of technology, whether it be digital or otherwise, with with physical disciplines, biological disciplines, and the impact on society. So those 4 areas I think are going to be important in this new roadmap. And I hope that the University of Arizona will continue to be as great as it is and even get greater and be one of those top land grant research intensive public universities.
That's it for us. Keep up with the City Council elections this summer on our website. Thanks for watching.